I 18 female, and my mom's 41, first and oldest child. She and my dad weren't together, and I lived with him from a very young age because she was busy with her career. So while she was around for my younger years, she wasn't as present as she would have liked to be. She has a husband, 38. He's a nice guy and treats her like a queen, so I'm happy she's met him. But unfortunately, he and my mom wanted a kid of their own, so they ended up having my little brother earlier this year. I love my brother and like spending time with him, but I'm aware that our age gap will make a normal sibling relationship a bit unachievable. I was a dual-enrolled college and high school student, so I got my associates at the same time I got my high school diploma. The college I transferred to has a study abroad program for which I got a full ride scholarship. I'm set to go next year, and I'm seriously so excited. My dad was happy for me when I told him, and so was my stepdad, but my mom didn't seem all that excited about it. She later told me that she doesn't think me doing school in another country is a good idea. I thought at first that maybe it was just her worrying about me being alone, so I tried to reassure her by telling her my friend was in the same program so we'd be together. She clarified that her biggest concern was how much time I'd be spending away from home, seeing as how it wouldn't be practical for me to fly back for all the holidays I would have visited if I were in the country. In addition, she said my going away during my little brother's earliest years would make it difficult for the two of us to know each other the way we would if I were around. I told her that it's not like I'd never come back or anything, and by the time I'm home again, he probably won't even be in school yet, so I'd still be around for his early years. But she insisted that it wouldn't be the same, and that I should want to stay here anyway because a good sister wouldn't want to leave her little brother. I got upset and I told her that I never asked to be a sister, especially not this far into my life, and that it wasn't fair of her to want me to put my future on pause because she decided she needed to start over again with motherhood. That really upset her, and I didn't feel like arguing anymore, so I just went over to my dad's house, and I've been here ever since. I did tell him what happened, and he said that I should choose what I feel is best for myself, and no choice I make about this would make me a bad older sister or even a bad daughter. So that did make me feel a little better about it, but I still feel awful. I love my mom, and I love my brother too, but I don't want to throw away this opportunity. Still though, am I the idiot for what I said to her? Maybe I'm being cynical, but it sounds like she's been counting on you to be her built-in babysitter. This is an amazing opportunity for you. You've worked hard for it. A full scholarship is no joke. Let your mom think what she wants. You see the bigger picture. Choose yourself here. You are not the idiot. I had the same thought. She was hoping for a ready babysitter, especially with her biggest concern being that OP would spend so much time away from home. Plus, her history of not being there for OP's childhood. Note that the stepdad congratulated OP, so it's only her mom being salty. It makes me think she had the kid because stepdad wanted one, and she figured OP would be around to parent the new baby. Stepdad probably has no idea. How much do you want to bet that she was planning to check out on this kid too, but realizes she has to parent him now that OP won't be there? Also, the audacity to say that she won't be a good sister if she leaves, like OP's mom believes that she was a good mom. Chick, you were never there. Do not let her turn you into a parent. Live your own life. Make sure you communicate to the scholarship office and the program office that all of your information should be going through your father's address. There's a chance your mother could decline your opportunity if you don't get on top of this right away. Be open with them that your divorced parents don't support you equally and that you live with your father. Ask them if they can password protect your information so that they can only be changed by someone who knows the password. My husband's little brother is 16 and has basically become like our honorary son. He was only 11 when he and I, 27 male, first met, and he immediately attached himself to me. We bonded over a similar love of video games and our shared disdain for the Marvel movies, while still getting roped into watching them all. He's the baby of the family by a long shot and was a later-in-life surprise for my in-laws. For reference, my husband is 28, so there's a 12 years age difference between the two. Once my husband and I moved in together, my little brother started wanting to stay over constantly. We limited this some at first, but now that he's gotten older and more mature, We allow him to come and go pretty much as he pleases. This summer, he stayed at our home a good portion of the time, to the point where his parents started complaining that they never see him anymore. So we started having to make rules that he had to be at home at least 2 days out of the week. To clarify, there's nothing bad going on at home that's making him come to our house. He just says we're more fun. This trend has continued now that school has started up. He's driving this year, so he's got more freedom. He'll stop by his own home after school to grab some clothes and say hi to his parents. Then he'll come spend the night at our place. However, school starting is what led to the central conflict of this post. I work from home while my husband doesn't, so it's just me in the house, and everyone's usually already left when I start my day. Friday, I noticed my little brother's car still in the driveway when I woke up, so I assumed he either slept through his alarm clock or he's sick. I go into his room to ask him what's up, and he said he just doesn't feel like going that day. I replied something along the lines of, "Fair enough, dude. You want to grab a bite and do some window shopping during lunchtime?" And moved on. We all need days off. Well, mother-in-law got a call from the school about his absence and called my husband, who then directs her to call me since he doesn't know what's going on. I told her he needed a mental health day, and she kind of went off on a rant about how all of this needs to be ran by her, and that I had no right to sign off on something like this because I agreed to write him a note so that his absence would be excused. She and I haven't spoken since, but little brother keeps begging my husband and I to let him come over, but his mom is saying no. I don't want this to damage the mother-in-law, son-in-law relationship I have with my husband's mother, but I just don't think I can apologize over this when she's holding her kid hostage from visiting us. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. He's not your child, and I think you writing a note definitely goes against not only parental boundary rules, but school rules as well. You are not a guardian, and the reason he prefers coming over to your house is because you don't parent him, because you're not his parent, and he's not your honorary son. I think you're hurting this kid, not holding him responsible and letting him do what he wants. His time by you should definitely be limited. I agree with mother-in-law 100%. Yeah, little brother has learned that your house is his chill pad. He doesn't have rules there, and he's pushing to see how far he can take that. Also, school just started. He just got off a mental health break that lasted 3 months. There's definitely something missing from this story. The parents are okay with their youngest being home only 2 days out of the week? Is it because OP's the fun place, or is the kid seeking refuge from something? I had a few friends in similar situations in high school, and it was almost always because they didn't want to be home rather than wanting to hang out somewhere fun. My spouse, 31 female, and I, 34 female, have been together for 10 years and married for 6 of those. In case anyone missed it, we are a same-gender couple, and it's relevant to this scenario. Before we got married, my mother-in-law, 65, insisted that no unmarried couples share a bed at her house, and I was okay with this. This was the rule for all 4 of her children: no unmarried couples, no matter how long you've lived together. Of course, for various reasons, we all suspected that the real reason for the rule was that she didn't want any gay people sharing a bed in her house. But whatever, it's not my house, and that's a common enough house rule anyway. Then we got married. The first time we planned to visit after getting married, we were informed that the rule had changed now. No couple except for her and her husband can share a bed in her house, married or not. This was absolute proof of the real reason for the rule. But again, it's not my house, not my mother, and not my battle. So I booked us a hotel instead. And that's what we've done every time we visit. I'm happy enough to respect that it's her house rule, but it's not a condition under which I'm willing to stay with her or anyone else. The knock-on effect is that we don't spend much time with our in-laws when visiting. This hurts mother-in-law's feelings. She thinks that I am, even though my spouse and I are 100% on the same page, being unreasonable by being unwilling to spend X nights in separate bedrooms to spend time with family. I think she's disrespecting our marriage by expecting this. I know it hurts her to miss out on time with her daughter over this, and I don't think she's a horrible person or anything, so I feel a little bad about it. And as much as I think it's pretty apparent now that it's a homophobic thing, she's still equally applying the rule to all of her children. but I don't feel bad enough that it's something I'm willing to compromise on. On the other hand, I wonder a tiny bit if I'm being oversensitive. Not the idiot. She made a boundary, and you respect it by not staying at her house. You and your wife made a boundary of wanting to sleep in the same bed. You found a compromise that allows both boundaries to be respected, and mother-in-law's trying to force you and your wife to give up your boundary. Your mother-in-law has the choice to change this rule whenever she chooses. She created the rule. She changed it once. If she cares, she'll change it again. Otherwise, it's her choice. If she wants you to come out more, she can make it more sustainable. I suppose you could always offer to have her at your house and apply the same rule. No married couples share a bed but us. See how much she fumes. I, 22 male, have 3 other siblings, 18 male, teen male, and tween female. Our parents are no longer together because of my mom's 42 infidelity. She was seeing my best friend's dad, and when my father found out, he kicked her out. She ended up moving in with her affair partner and broke 2 marriages. This all happened 6 years ago, and my siblings saw my dad as the bad guy who kicked their mother out. My 2 youngest siblings decided to live with my mom, and my dad only had them on weekends. My 18-year-old brother stayed with us because he was closer to my dad, but he didn't know what caused our family to fall apart and seemed to resent my dad. I visited my mom as often as possible, and she seemed happy to have me, but I was the only one who knew what had happened. My dad never talked to my mother and never let my siblings know why they split, even if he had to be seen as the bad guy who kicked her out, and my mom never took any responsibility for what she did to our family. They get along with Jeff, mom's husband. I did, but I lost a lot of respect for him when he went after my mom. My dad will get married to Rose this fall, and he told my siblings that he wished to have them with him. They started being so mean to him and basically shaming him for getting married and accusing him of cheating because he started dating Rose a long time ago. Even my 18-year-old brother did. They hate Rose because she came into our lives like 6 months after my mom was kicked out. I asked them to stop. My dad isn't confrontational, so he told me to leave it like that. They started accusing Rose of being the reason my parents fell apart, but I told them that it was because of my mom's infidelity. Their faces turned red, and they asked me if I was joking, but I said no. They returned to my mom's house, and 2 days later they were back, asking to stay with my dad full time. Apparently they confronted her and her husband about what happened. I called my mom to see if everything was okay, but she didn't answer. I went to her house and she was distant. We didn't talk much about it. Her husband texted me later to call me the idiot for telling my siblings about my mom's affair, and they seem to hate her now. I know it's hard for my mom now because she loves us, but my dad shouldn't be seen as the evil person, and she is the great flawless parent. Plus, Rose shouldn't be seen as a homewrecker when my mom is. Am I the idiot for letting them know? Not the idiot. Your mom and her affair partner have been lying to your siblings for years. They deserve the consequences of 1, their affair, and 2, their subsequent lies over years, and 3, not defending your dad or Rose. If they had wanted to keep the status quo and keep their betrayal and dishonesty a secret, they should have made an effort to welcome Rose and try to discourage your siblings from vilifying Rose and your dad. Just for clarification, it was OP's best friend's dad. That's probably also how OP knew when the others didn't. Didn't your siblings find it odd that your mom was immediately dating or living with your best friend's father? I wonder what happened to Jeff's wife. Your father's been a real hero in protecting the kids from the truth about their mother, but not surprisingly, the kids have interpreted this as your dad's the bad guy. You are the idiot. I'll never understand why people think it's okay for kids to be burdened with adult problems or for one kid to alienate his siblings from their mother. Regardless of how awful we think our mom is or how saintly we think dad is, it wasn't OP's decision to make. His dad has rightfully kept this information from his kids for 6 years. It was not OP's place to change that. The other day, my husband and mother-in-law needed to have an important talk. He asked me to go with him as he was anxious and didn't want to go alone. I reluctantly agreed, but the moment we got there, mother-in-law asked me to go outside. So I took my 2 children, toddler and young child, outside. Stepfather-in-law was out there with my husband's sisters, similar ages. I tried to stick to one side of the yard, as he and I have never gotten along. I was on the trampoline with both kids, but my older one wanted to go and swing, which was fine, but I could not leave the toddler on the trampoline alone. My son went over and asked stepfather-in-law to push him. He was pushing both of his daughters. Stepfather-in-law replied, "Sorry, but your mom's crazy, and I'm not getting yelled at for pushing you too high or whatever." My son just looked at him, confused, and my stepfather-in-law said, "Really sorry, but I'm just at a point in life where I don't deal with miserable, dramatic women, and your mom always has a problem." I was furious. I immediately went over and grabbed my son, and I was going to say something because you don't ever badmouth a child's parent like that. I don't care how you feel in private, but that borders on being abusive to me. Before I could say anything, mother-in-law and my husband came out of the house. She was crying. He looked like he was in a trance and had definitely been crying. I might be insensitive because I didn't check if either of them was okay. I immediately announced that my stepfather-in-law had just disrespected me as a mother, and he would never be near my children again. No exceptions, no holidays. Just no one's gonna do that in front of my child. My husband snapped at me that it didn't matter as mother-in-law had just disowned him. Mother-in-law asked him not to use that word and began to sob. Stepfather-in-law blew up on me that I'm an egomaniac, and why would I even bring that up when they're both clearly upset? I tried to point out what he had just done in front of my child, but he told me I was an idiot and he felt bad for my husband. My husband was cold going home and says while he usually defends me, I was heartless and didn't even ask what was wrong, and my timing was all wrong. He says I should have just sucked it up for that one time, as I knew he went there to have a serious talk with mother-in-law. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Your husband specifically asked you to come to support him. You were there as support. You saw your husband and mother-in-law were upset. You knew you were there to support your husband, and yet instead of offering that support you came to provide, you chose to make it all about you and the swing set fight you had with another adult. And by the way, your stepfather-in-law did not even come close to being abusive to you. That was the honest answer. You clearly make an issue over everything. So your stepfather-in-law was just responding honestly to your child when your child asked for a push. It was better than leaving it ambiguous and allowing the child to think that they were at fault. It sounds like stepfather-in-law is right about you. You sound miserable, dramatic, and like you always have a problem. You could see your husband was crushed, yet you went off about stepfather-in-law calling you out for what is probably the truth. Nothing about what you describe makes you look like a nice person. Just out of curiosity, does your husband lose a lot of relationships because they blame you as the reason? Yeah, you are the idiot. Seek a professional. Your children deserve someone stable. If you think you don't have a problem, cool. See a professional anyways. Maybe they'll validate your belief that everyone else on earth is the idiot. Maybe they won't, but at least you can say you went.